Today is September 14th. We are doing the voicemail episode. Special guest Trevor Plouffe, as we hope Jimmy survives.
Talking Yanks with old JOMBOY Jake. Recaps galore and weekly awards. Stat lines, steaming hot takes. Get your Yankees news with these two fine dudes. It's time for Talking Yanks. Talking Yanks with old JOMBOY Jake. Talking Yanks with old JOMBOY Jake.
Holy smokes. A special Talkin' Yanks voicemail episode with former driller and stud third baseman Trevor Patrick Plouffe donning the pinstripes like he was always supposed to do. Trevor, how are you?
I'm doing great, and I want you to, thanks for asking, I want you to kind of check what I got going on here. Not only do I have the pinstripes,
Yep.
I got the Seahawks hat on,
Yep.
because Russell Wilson is also a member of the New York Yankees.
Yes.
I heard they were going to take number 3 out of retirement and give it to him because he's that damn good.
Where'd you
What do
hear
you
that
think
from
about
again? Where'd you hear that from?
I just made it up.
Sources.
That's all you have to do anymore.
Happy for you. Happy for your Seahawks. And, if you're asking, I know a lot of people follow a lot of what we do. Jimmy's a little under the weather. We'll see. I think his Katie was a little sick, so maybe he's just a little sick, but we'll see. So we're playing it safe. He's not in the office, and we'll see how he's doing. For now, we'll talk some voicemail stuff. If you're not familiar with Trevor Plouffe, where have you been?
Oh my
Former Twin
you watch
stud.
Yankees games, you're familiar with me.
Does talk in baseball. Has been to the second deck in left field. One of the 2 times I've appreciated Trevor Plouffe this year. The other one was because you told me you faced Mariano Rivera, and I was like, God damn it, man. That's pretty cool. So, spend most of my days talking to you anyways, but normally not in the Yankees circles. Where are you at with the Yanks, Trev?
I'm excited to be here because I believe I've watched more Yankee games than any other team this year, and I'm listening with the home broadcast, all of that. So I feel like I'm pretty caught up on the Yanks. I've been kind of telling you guys to chill out a little bit.
Yeah. And
here we are after, did they sweep this weekend?
They swept 4 games. They've won 5 in a row.
And, I mean, they're back. They're 100% in the playoffs. It's now get ready for that first series. That's it.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the tough thing around baseball this year because, I mean, you win 5 of 6 games in a given week, and you're basically back and feeling great. And I think every good team this year except the Dodgers, I think, has had a rough stretch. You know, the Braves had a tough stretch. The Rays, they started the year slow. They've gotten going, and now they're in a tough one. I mean, go around baseball, any team that's not the Dodgers, who are really good, has had a tough stretch. And, I mean, the Yankees were really hurt. And they still got more help coming, Trev. Judge, Stanton, Johnny Loizaga, your guy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing is, like, these other teams, most of them went through rough patches just because they were playing bad baseball. I mean, the Yankees have been hurt. So let's get these guys back. You know, I mean, Judge is obviously the main guy you need to have back for the playoffs. Stanton, former MVP, not too shabby either. So I think, you know, as we talk about it a little bit more today, I think they're in a good spot. Just get healthy. Hopefully you can have those guys back. I don't know what the prognosis is and when they're supposed to be back. I know soon because ideally you'd want them back for at least a series before we go into the playoffs. Get their timing back a little bit.
Yeah, so I think there's a voicemail or 2 around that so we could talk about it. I guess the only other thing, and I'll check with producer BBD, is do we have any Davey voicemails?
I don't believe so.
Have you seen Davey yet, Trev?
There is kind of one, but not like about him specifically.
Okay.
You're talking about Garcia.
Davey Garcia, yes.
I watched him pitch a little bit.
Okay.
That's your guy. That's like...
Well, it's when we jumped to the 3-game series, we got Cole. We got Tanaka, who's got the playoff history. And then that 3 spot is kind of open right now. It's Happ has been pitching well. Jordan Montgomery had a couple bad ones. Then he had his best start. And then there's Davey, who's come up and he's been special. He's going to have the first start tomorrow against Toronto. And if he shoves again, it's going to be full-blown Davey mania. But the conversation gets interesting because Happ and Monty, if they go to the bullpen, they're kind of just dead weight. Like, you're not going to bring them into any situation over the other relievers. But Davey, he could go to the bullpen and potentially tick up a little bit and add a weapon. So that's kind of been one of the big 3-game playoff series topic, just outside of everyone else getting healthy.
Yeah, I mean, I see, in my opinion, looking at the roster, I think you could do the Cole Tanaka thing and then a modified bullpen day.
Yeah.
Where you got these guys piggybacking each other. If one gets in trouble, he's gone. And try to do it like that. It's a little bit risky. But in the 3-game series, it's do or die. If they got to that game 3, it's do or die, and you got to do what you got to do. So,
well, hopefully they run into the Twins, right?
It'd be a great series. Probably don't want to run into the Twins right now.
Well, let's get into the voicemails, Trev. Let's see what the people got for us today.
First voicemail, it's 2 voicemails.
Okay, it's a double.
Similar vein.
Okay.
Hey, JOMBOY and Jake and BBD behind the plate. This is Owen from Minnesota. I'm curious what your playoff path to victory would be. What teams would you want to play looking at the standings right now? Like, we could be in 7th, we could be, we can't win the East probably, but we could be 2nd in the East. Well, what would you do? Who'd you want to play? Curious about your thoughts. Love the show. Love you guys. Bye.
All right, Trev. Well, let's
What's up, boys? It is Jordan from Boston. All right, winning 5-0 makes you feel good. Playoff hopes are more hopeful. And then the bubble just came out with the settings and how it's going to work out. First round at the home field ballpark. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to go to the Trop for injuries and because they've blown our number. Do you think the Yankees also want to avoid the Trop, or is it more just get in the playoffs and that's all that matters? Do they think seeding matters? Let me know what you think. Thanks, boys. Go Yanks.
We're in it, Trev. We're in it deep. So the AL pretty much has their 8 teams decided. You got the 3 AL Central teams. You're going to have the A's and most likely the Stros, unless the Mariners can pull something out. And then the Rays, Yankees, Jays. We'll see if the Yankees can stay hot and kind of claim that 2 seed. But either way, it's all open because the AL Central changes series by series. And then the top 3 teams, the A's, whoever's winning the AL Central, and the Rays have been rotating best records. So, I mean, I don't know how much planning you're going to be able to do. I think all these teams are just going to line up their 1, 2, 3s towards the end. You've been on the Rays all year. Credit to you. And, we've given them the proper amount of love this year. But there's always a little Yankees, Rays, big brother, little brother, except when they beat you 8 out of 10 times this season. So, I don't know. I guess this is kind of widespread throughout baseball, and that's what we do on Talkin' Baseball. So I'll kick it to you. What general thoughts, and then we'll zoom in a little bit.
I think there's 2 teams they want to match up against. And one is a pretty obvious one. I just said you don't want to match up with the Twins now, but that's because it's in the regular season. Playoff time comes around. Talk about big brother, little brother.
Yeah.
When you have Cole and Tanaka to neutralize a lot of the right-handed bats in the Twins lineups, I think that could be a problem for the Twins. But I think who they match up best against is the Oakland A's.
Ooh.
And I think they're almost matched up right now. They're not, okay, so right now they're not matched up with them, but I think that's who they fit the best against. Matt Chapman's out for the season. That's a big blow to the A's. I was going to say Buffalo, but then Rowdy Tellez came out this weekend and said something cool. He's like, we love Rowdy here. He was talking about teams coming into Buffalo and them complaining about how it's bad and how they're using that to their advantage. And I kind of see that happening. I could totally see like, hey, the lights aren't great. The facility sucks. Our hotel sucks. All this stuff. So I could see how they wouldn't want to go in there. So if I was going to pick 2 teams, I think Twins just because of the history, and most of the time I say, screw history. It's a new year, new team. But there is something different about the way the Yankees play the Twins in the playoffs. And then just statistically and the way things match up, I think the A's are their best matchup, their best way through the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, I think what's interesting, and we got some people in the live chat mention it now, the two things that jump out, because, I mean, baseball-wise, again, when you start lining it up for 3 games and you start out with Cole, like, you're going to have a chance in the series. But the 2 places that really have been a house of horrors for the Yanks are the Oakland Coliseum. They've struggled there throughout the past decade. And then the Trop. You just never want to go to the Trop. I mean, you're worried about what's going to happen weird in the field of play. So many Yankees have gotten hurt there. And the Yankees, with how bad their middle stretch of the season is, unless they stay incredibly hot and another team falters, they're probably going to be going on the road for that first series. So, I don't know. The AL Central teams are interesting. Like you said, we've had really good experiences against the Twins, so I think you line up for that and you're ready to go. The White Sox and Indians kind of feel like wild cards at this point because there's so much young talent that we haven't really seen on that stage yet. Like, you know, the White Sox, their hitting is unbelievable. Cleveland, their pitching is unbelievable. But I don't know. The Indians, I guess, hitters have been there before. Ramirez, Lindor. And then for the White Sox, they do have Keuchel, who, you know, you're going to follow Giolito with him, and Keuchel's been through a lot of wars, especially against the Yankees, and has dominated them. So, I don't know. The only thing that jumps out, because baseball-wise, you still got to win the game, but Tampa and Oakland have been nasty places for the Yankees to play.
I could see the Coliseum having the same effect as, you know, Buffalo has. I mean, they're not too far off, even though one's an actual Major League stadium, one's a AAA stadium. They're not too far off. Indians is interesting because, you have the pitching and then, like, the top end of the lineup. But once you get past the top end of the lineup in Cleveland, it's pretty bad. And collectively, I'm just looking it up right now. I mean, they're at an 83 OPS plus. And you could throw Tanaka and Cole at those guys.
Yeah.
As long as you can score a run off Bieber and Carrasco, you know, and Plesac. And I don't know who's their number 2 now. Is it Carrasco?
I might be Plesac. I think he's been second best.
Yeah. Well, you know, you're going to have to face Orange. If you can put some runs up against them, I think you can hold the Indians down, especially with a guy like Cole and then play off Tanaka. So I'll add them into those are the 3 teams that I think they'd fare best against: Twins, Indians, A's.
Hearing you say playoff Tanaka really does something to me.
You guys have put that in my head.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, it should be in your head because it's honestly it's been awesome. Yeah, I'm trying to think, and the other, unless the Yankees get really hot, they're gonna be at best the 5 seed. Which again, we'll see. It's been a funny season. We'll see if anything can kick up, but yeah. And I wonder when we get to the final week, I mean, they're just going to be lining up their starters. I don't know if you're going to be really battling to try to play a different team. I don't know. I mean, it'd be good to dodge the Rays this year. The Rays have had us pretty bad.
The A's starting pitching to me is just an enigma.
Yeah.
I mean, you're supposed to have Montas. He's supposed to be the guy. He's had a really bad year. Chris Bassett's been their best starter, which he's a little funky. I think that's what he has going best for them. I don't know if they've faced him this year or not, but I love the A's, man. I like a lot of the guys on the team. I just don't believe in them in this playoffs.
And no, the other thing is they just lost Matt Chapman, who is a game changer on both sides of the ball. So, okay,
great.
I think I might change it to let's dodge the Rays just because of the stadium and how they've done. But again, like the Rays are going to go what? Glasnow, Snell, Morton, which again, that is pretty nasty. So okay, really let's dodge the Rays. Let's just not deal with that until we have to deal with that. What do you got next, BBD?
Hi, JOMBOY, Jake. Love the show. Love it. Awesome stuff. Very quick question. Do you think there is a additional benefit to Monty or Hack being a one inning reliever to get some lefties out against the Rays in the first round. That's who I think they're going to end up facing. Or do you think there's a benefit to putting Davey there and giving one of those two guys the start? Thank you very much. Have a great day.
So this is what I was talking to you a little bit about, Trev, is that, Cole and Tanaka are the locks. They're going 1-2. From there, and again, if you start getting into a 5 or a 7 game set, it changes the conversation a little bit. But for the 3-gamer, I don't know, man. J Happ had been kind of hated by Yankee fans. He was bad last year, and I think, Yankee fans, as you've joined Yankees Twitter, Trev, you've seen how they can handle some situations. Let's be honest, J Happ got juice balled last year. He's a fly ball pitcher in the stadium, and he had a tough time. But this year, he's been really solid. The line that Jimmy's started using, which is kind of fair, is that every pitch J Happ throws, you feel like can be hit for a home run, which is a little rude to a guy that's had a really good MLB career, but is also true. I mean, the guy pumps 60%, 92-mile-per-hour fastballs. Jordan Montgomery, I don't know if you got the full tape on him. He young, tall. He's got the highest release point in Major League Baseball. So there's a little.
I don't know if you know this, but I used to play baseball.
I know you did. Did you face Monty?
I faced Montgomery. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and Happ.
Did you feel the funk on Monty?
No, man. I love lefties.
Okay.
It's not fair to ask me. I mean, I wasn't a great hitter, but I could hit lefties pretty well.
Okay. But
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but before we get into more of your stats and data, second deck Trev, short porch Trev, and then Davey the Young King, who again I think he's a start tomorrow night away from being like, yep, he gets the pill, because he has shown the ability to be special. I don't know. I guess from the player side, I mean, what do you want? Do you want your team looking at it analytically? If you're facing a team that has lesser numbers against lefties, if Davey's kind of this young magician, are you saying like, hey, let's go off that magic? Like, what's your mindset at?
I think 100%, obviously, you're going Cole, Tanaka. And I think what's probably going to happen, if there is a third game, it's going to be a piggyback day. The problem with doing like a Montgomery and Happ thing is you could stack the lineup if they're going to start the game with righties. Okay. And this voicemail talked about, hey, let's put one of these guys in and have them for lefties. And I'm looking at the splits now. They've both been good, but Montgomery's been really good against lefties. So I'm sure that's something they're looking at. His stats right now, I got the splits up. Versus left-handed batters, and he holds them to a 186 batting average, a 573 OPS. Those are the numbers you look for. So in my mind, that's what they're already doing. They're planning for this first series. Montgomery's probably going to be in the bullpen for certain lefties. I don't know. They'll go person by person. Who does he match up against? If we're saying it right now, and Garcia goes out and has a good start, I think he starts game 3. And then you have these guys to back him up. I think that's the smart thing to do. Like you're saying, with Happ, he is a fly ball pitcher, and that is not what you want in the playoffs.
I mean, you're a bloop and a blast away from being down 2-0 instantly.
You don't like that. You don't want that. You need a guy that can miss bats. And obviously, we don't know a ton about Garcia just yet. But he probably misses more bats than these two guys. And I love, now that we've looked these stats up, Montgomery's a weapon in the playoffs against lefties. And then maybe that's his future role. Maybe I'm not giving him enough credit overall. Like his career stats,
he had a couple.
A 4 is it's a great ERA for a starter. A back end starter, you'll take that all day long. You can make a lot of money doing that. So he's not going to want to be in the pen. But when the playoffs come around, no one gives a shit what you want. It's about the team. He could be a weapon.
Yeah, and again, I guess this gets funky because we just had that whole thing where I don't think the Yankees are going to know who they're playing until maybe 2 days left in the season.
Yeah.
So again, if you are coming up against a team, say it's Tampa and they've got Meadows and Lau back to back, that could be a nice lane for Monty. I'd have to look up the Indians numbers, but they've got all those switch hitters. Would there be a nice lane where you could turn those guys around potentially? So, yeah, I think Monty, because he is a little funky with the high release, you can probably find a role for him. And then Happ, if he continues, he has been really good lately. I think if you get into a 4 or 7 game set, I think you might have to throw him for a game. But then in that length series, too, he can also be your guy if a game does get out of hand. J-Hap can burn 4 innings for you and try to save the pen for another day. But I don't know. I think these, we're 14 games left or whatever it is. And again, we've been really high on Davey, and I still am, and, the composure and all the intangibles have seemed nice. But he's also a rookie. If the wheels were to fall off, that opens things up a lot more, too. So a little exciting.
He needs to show something at the end of the season and continue to do what he's done.
And Trev, I like a good storyline. I think he's just going to drop dick the rest of the way, and it'll be like, oh, and these Yankees got a little magic in this guy, Davey Garcia. I'm rooting for that. Speaking of cool, Trev, Noah's cool. Seeing the teams back on the gridiron this week. Football is back. And lucky for us, that was just week 1. There is no better place to get in on the actions with Draftkings. Draftkings Sportsbook, baby, America's top-rated sportsbook app. To add to the excitement of week 2, Draftkings Sportsbook is bringing back their can't-miss offer. If you haven't tried Draftkings Sportsbook yet, head to the App Store now, because you do not want to miss this. Draftkings Sportsbook is giving all new users, the chance to turn $1 into $100 when they bet on any team. That's right. You can place a $1 bet on any team, and if that team wins, you cash a cool Benjamin. How could you pass that up? If you're new to DraftKings Sportsbook, head to the app now to scout their latest offers. Bet with DraftKings Sportsbook, a sportsbook that goes wherever you go. DraftKings is safe, reliable, secure, making it easy for you to deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code JOMBOY when you sign up to get this can't-miss offer. Pick any team during week 2. Bet $1, and if you get it, you win $100 if they win. That's $1 to win $100 with promo code JOMBOY during sign-up for a limited time only. Only DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. New Jersey only. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
What's that number again?
Might need that. Depending how tonight's games go. What do you got, Beaver?
No brainer. $1 to win $100.
Bubak. Hey, I left a voicemail for last week's episode, but it must not have made the DVD cut, which is fine. I get it. Maybe it was over 2 minutes. I don't know. Anyways, this week's question. You think that when today's game, Sunday's game, when Boone says, hey, Gardy, we're going to pinch hit Glaber for you, you think it was like, oh, okay, that's fine, Glaber, that's cool. Like if it would have been Tyro or Tyler Wade or somebody, Gardy would get all pissed, do his bang thing. Or do you think Booney has fun with it and says, hey, Glaber, I'm going to have you pinch hit for Gardy, but you got to go tell him. One of those, you got to go tell Uncle Brett that I'm going to pinch hit you for him. So, I don't know. Just something to play with. Love you guys. Keep it up. Peace.
Trev, in fortunate/unfortunate brig, you can speak pretty well on this. Is this did managers ever have fun with pinch hit appearances? Was it, or were there ever any nervous moments like, hey, you got to tell him he's out of the game? That could be a bad time.
I mean, I've been through the gamut on pinch hitting. I've pinch hit for someone I probably shouldn't have pinch hit for. I've been on deck hoping that I get pinch hit for. But when you're where Gardy is in your career, you just don't ever want to get pinch hit for. Like he's, and I get Glaber. If it's a guy like Glaber, I think the voicemail was correct. If it's a guy like Glaber, you're like, okay, I understand the matchup, whatever it may be, gives us a chance to win, but still, you want to hit, dude. You want to be able to get out of whatever funk you're in. So I could see, like, yeah, if there was a Wade or a Tyro Estrada, that would have been a little different. There would have had to been a post-game, hey, Gardy, can you come here real quick? Like, let's talk about why I did it. You know, whereas when Glaber does it for you and he's the kind of player he is, you kind of just like, okay, I understand that.
Yeah, and it was Tanner Scott, who's a little bit of, not a sidewinding lefty, but he comes over from second base. So I think there's a little bit of, like you're saying, it's Glaber. I'm fine with giving up this bat, especially when Glaber ends up coming through, PBD.
Plus, Glaber also got the hit.
Yeah.
So, it all worked out.
That always helps.
Yes.
That always helps. What,
And the sidewinding lefty thing is also a factor. I'm sure Brett was like, am I holding this bat any longer? What am I doing? Should I have my batting gloves on? It's one of those things where you probably expected something.
What were your who'd you pinch hit for that you didn't have any business pinch hitting for, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't even remember, man.
Okay.
I know there were times where I would come in and pinch run for Jim Tomei. My first year, that's kind of what I did. And then if the game ended up going longer than it needed to, say somebody tied something up, all of a sudden I'm hitting in Jim Tomei's spot. And people are like, what the fuck is going on?
All right, come.
So I also remember my first, and this is, I don't want to talk about me, all right, bro?
I do.
Stop asking me questions about myself. My first call-up ever, I only played, it was a 3-game set against the Brewers. Had success my first couple games. John Axford is in the game to close it out. And they're only up by 1 or so. I'm on deck Gardy, are you going to fucking keep me in this game, or can Jim Tomei pinch hit for me? I was fully expecting to be pinch hit for, and then I ended up going up there and striking out. So that's not a good attitude to have, okay, for anybody that's out there.
Anytime you come up and
thing.
you don't want to hit, I think the success rate goes down pretty heavily there. And that was your buddy Bubak, who he's been trying to, he wants you to win him over.
I don't give an F about winning Bubak over.
I don't know.
Okay?
I don't know if that's going to help or hurt you. Could see it going
That's
either way.
okay.
I could see him respecting that about you.
Yeah, I'm just going to do me, Bubak, you do you, and if we meet somewhere in the middle, so be it.
There you go. Next.
I like your songs, though.
Hey, JOMBOY, Jake, and BBD. This is Sean calling again from Fort Saskatchewan, Alberta. The Yankees just swept the Orioles. I'm pretty happy about that. But my question for you is about DJ LeMahieu. Do you think this is the last year we'll see him in pinstripes, or will Cashman do whatever it takes to keep him in the uniform? Appreciate everything you guys are doing. Appreciate the show. Love it. Keep it up. And I'll shut up and listen. Bye.
Now, we usually dance around these pretty decently during the season, Trev, because, we're approaching the playoffs. we hope the Yankees got a lot of good stuff coming up, and we're going to have an offseason to talk about all this. But DJ LeMahieu, man, I don't know how many examples are similar to this. I mean, he was, a really good ball player for the Rockies. Gold Glover, won 1 batting title, was solid. Trev, he's been special with the Yanks. I mean, he's been picking it at second, third, even first a little bit. The batting average, OPS are both there. He signed a 2 for $24, I think, BBD. Yeah. And I don't know, man. I mean, this guy's going to demand some money, but also what's free agency going to look like this year? I don't know. I keep whispering it in podcasts, but I don't know what kind of money the Yankees got, because they're one of these family-owned baseball teams that don't have their, hands in other things. So, I don't know. What do you got?
Yeah, I think it is going to be a weird year in free agency, and I'm looking at his numbers right now. He's a career 100 OPS guy. How is that even possible?
It's weird, man.
He came to Yankee Stadium from Colorado and got exponentially better. A 136 OPS plus last year. He's at a 156 clip this year. So he was a below average MLB hitter until he got to New York. He's also 32. I don't know how much money he's going to command. I know he's had 2 really good years in a row. But you know how teams see guys when they get over that 30 mark, especially 32. I think his league age is 32 next year, but I mean, I think this will be a great time for the Yankees to offer him a similar deal. If he gets more than that on the open market, good for him, and the Yankees should be like, okay. Now, the Yankees, from what I gather, they don't have much coming up behind him. Someone to lock down second base like that. So I think it could be advantageous for both of them. I think DJ could be like, dude, let me cash in on the Yankees. I like it here. I played well here. And the Yankees could say, look, we probably value you more than any other franchise does. So there's going to be some back and forth. I do think free agency is going to be down this offseason. I don't think that's any question. But I do think looking at the scenario, it would be mutually beneficial for them to work something out.
And I think DJ, and I mean, these are the quotes you're going to say, but I think the interest has been shown that he wanted to be on a winner, and I think he's enjoying the situation. I don't know, Trev. I mean, think about it, if you're DJ LeMahieu here, you know, you've just raked the past 2 years. You've always been known as a fielder. You've always been known as a bat-to-ball guy. Now there's a little pop to it. There's a little more. I think he's going to be demanding more than that. I mean, again, it's tough to read through the lines on Twitter and everything, but DJ LeMahieu's agent isn't going to be asking 2 for 24 because he's going to say the past 2 years, I've been a monster.
I mean, free agency's littered with examples of guys coming off big years and not getting shit, especially the last couple of years.
It's true.
You know, you look at, the Mike Moustakas factor. He went through 2 years of that before cashing in this year. And I would say they're probably pretty similar players. Mike is much younger, a better hitter, probably not as well. Mike at third base used to be a pretty good defender. So I could see them maybe looking at that deal and saying, look, could we get 464? But there's no way, man.
Not at that age.
I just don't see it. I could see a 2-year deal. If they wanted to raise it to 30.
That's what I'm wondering.
See that?
Because, I mean, the number you see a lot of people on the internet saying is $20 million per year. But when you do actually...
No, hell no.
When you do actually
consider
age 32 and that these seasons are the outliers, yeah, I wonder if like a 2 for 15, you still get a little bit of a bump. Or, they do like him a lot. I think a lot of fans listening to this are probably... mad you compared him to Mike Moustakas, just because DJ's been really good for the Yankees, Trev. With the Yankees, he's had a 901 OPS.
I know that. I get it.
So, I don't know. And he's pulling at people's heartstrings. People are comparing
This is actually great. They both have a career OPS of 100. OPS plus of 100.
When you look at the full body of work, I absolutely agree with you. I think DJ's a little better.
And Mike is 32.
So
they're the same freaking player, man. So maybe he does.
Moose last year got what? 4 for 64, something like that.
He did. With the pandemic and no fans in the stands and all that, I just don't see that offer on the table.
How about 3 for 50?
I want DJ to get paid. I don't want anyone to misconstrue that. I hope he gets 464. That'd be amazing. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think the teams are really going to be stingy with the amount of years, especially at that age.
Yeah.
I could see a lot of teams going 1 year with an option. I can see the team going 2 guaranteed years as the winner. So maybe that's what the Yankees do. They say, hey, we think you could do it. We like what you bring to the table. 2 years, 30.
Okay.
2 years, 32.
It's an interesting conversation, and Trev, that's why I get scared to deep dive into it, because Tanaka's a free agent. Paxton's a free agent. The Yankees, I don't know how the financials look, but they definitely look different after everything with COVID. So it's going to be interesting to see where they lean into that, because they just paid that Cole guy a lot of money too. So I don't know. There's going to be a lot of questions. Let's try to save those until, November.
I'm sure we'll be talking about that a lot in the offseason.
Yeah, we will. We sure will. Next.
Hey guys, it's Rusty from Danbury. Yanks are about to have a roster crunch with Urshela, Judge, and Stanton all coming back soon, so that means 3 guys have to go to Scranton. Now, I'm assuming Kratz and Tyro are definitely going down, and I'm assuming that Talkin is safe. So if it's down between Ford or Andujar, personally, I think it would be a huge mistake to send down Andujar. So my question is, am I crazy or do you agree? Thanks, guys. Love the show and go Yanks.
This is a you question, man.
Yeah, I'll talk out loud, and if you hear anything, correct me on it. So Gio Urshela should be back with the Yankees tomorrow. He should be sending down either Thairo Estrada, who's been pretty bad for them this year, young ball player, probably could have used a year of AAA this year, or Mike Ford, who was really nice for the Yankees last year. He's kind of been a disaster this year. Either way, I think that becomes kind of a moot point because your guy Stanton should be on the way back soon. And so whichever one doesn't, in theory, that's Stanton. Where it gets interesting is Aaron Judge. Judgy is hopefully coming back by the weekend himself. And Trev, the Yankees have been holding 3 catchers. Gary's been struggling. Eric Kratz came up and obviously a shot of life to the clubhouse. He's one of the most well-liked people around baseball. And he was swinging an okay stick for them. I mean, he's a lifetime, 40-year-old backup catcher. So there's that. But I don't know. It just becomes an interesting topic. Do you get rid of him and try to keep him around the team? He's a guy that's become a big part of the clubhouse, or do you send down?
What do you mean?
Well, there's a roster crunch.
Player coach?
The old player coach. I think if there's anyone that can do it, it's Kratzy. And then I don't know. I think the other thing that ties into this is Gary Sanchez. The Yankees are hoping he's going to figure it out, but he's been having a tough year. So is there a benefit to keeping the 3 catchers going into this postseason? I don't know. I guess it's kind of loose roster construction. If there's any keywords you like there.
This is not a great question for me. I'm going to try to answer the best that I can.
Okay.
My thought on this whole thing is you got 2 weeks. Gary's been struggling all year. Is there any chance they say, Gary, we're going to send you to a week to the alternate site.
Oh.
You were going to get 4 at-bats or 8 at-bats a day. Get your shit together. Come back up for the playoffs. I think he'd be open to it. So is it embarrassing a little bit? Yeah. Does he have options? So I guess that's the first thing.
I'll catch you up a little bit. I do believe he does, but if they did that, he doesn't have options, surprisingly.
Okay, then it's not an option.
And if he did, I mean, the fireworks that would have sent off between the media and the team and everything. And Trev, they're basically doing that now. Like the Yankees, you've seen me and Jimmy complain about their off days and their scheduling. They've been running Gary out there every day, catching or DHing to get his at-bats in to try to figure out. So they're
but that's different. That's different if, and obviously he can't do it because he doesn't have any options, so that doesn't make any sense. But if he was to go down there and get 6 to 8 stress-free at-bats, it's different than doing it in front of everybody.
And that's what Jimmer was disappointed when they benched him for a little bit. They benched him for 2 games, 3 games. And we were saying, if you're going to do it and you're going to be benched and you're going to work with the hitting coach every day, make it 3 or 4. Clear the head. Get away from it. But now the Yankees are taking the approach where they're going to give him every day at bats. And,
he's still your best offensive catcher by far.
Exactly. And Trev, I know I don't think we want to do this whole thing, but defensively, Gary is talented. Obviously, the blocking is tough, but he's got the best arm out of Higgy and Kratz easily. And Garrett Cole's raved about him this year, so obviously his blocking has been a thing in the past. But all in all, and that's been the quotes out of Boone, Cashman, and everyone is like, we're gonna do it with Gary, because when he's right, he's a huge advantage. He hits like no other catcher can hit when he's right. But right now he's very wrong. So I don't know. I'm interested to see. Knock on wood, we'll see what goes on with the Yankees injury bug. Miguel Andujar is safe, if people are wondering about that. He's a part of the future. I think he's going to be the Yankees' only dynamic hitting option off the bench come playoff time if everyone is healthy. BBD, again, this is deep cut Yankee stuff, so I'll ask you, does Kratz or Talkman have to end up off this team?
I think so. Yeah. The Kratz thing, a week ago, I would have said they really want to keep him around because they kept the 3 catchers to this point. But just last week we had Grichuk on this show talk about how important, what's his name, to the Blue
Joseph,
Jays, Caleb Joseph, and they DFA'd him. So I think the team that works to a certain extent, and when the team was struggling as a whole as much as they were, it was important to keep Kratz around. But now we're kind of rolling again, so I don't think he's fully safe. On Gary, I struggle with the phrasing of this, but just the threat of Gary, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
They're not taking that out of the lineup when it matters if he's healthy.
The opponent would
They don't want to throw him a strike down the middle in a playoff game.
Opponent would much rather see Higgy or Kratz than Gary Sanchez, who could potentially hit a 450 moondog at any swing.
Does Higgy have options? It doesn't look like he does either.
Higgy does not, so that's kind of been the conversation.
Kratz is going to be out. I know he brings a lot to the table. I think everyone likes him, but you're not going to carry 3 catchers if you don't have to, or if you don't have the room. That's the first thing you're going to do is be done with that.
Yeah. No, the math seems to point of it, but also, one more injury, which the Yankees have had a lot of.
Look, this is also a possibility, and I do not want this to happen. I don't want them to send Kratz down because I love Kratz. I also love Higgy. Higgy could be gone too.
Yeah,
they say we like Kratz's. If we like Kratz to lead our pitching staff and be our backup guy, Higgy hasn't shown a lot.
It's true. Higgy has caught Cole's last 2 games. It's going to be interesting to see if he catches this third one. Because Higgy's specialty is pitch framing. So if Gary's not hitting, if you could get Higgy's pitch framing with Cole, that potentially could be a dynamic combination. But
there's definitely a discussion about that.
Yeah, and I think
because it's going to be a catcher. So which one is going to be Kratz? It's not like if they tagged or tabbed Higgy to be their catcher of the future.
Yeah,
then that's different. I don't think they've done that.
No.
So that's the discussion right now. I guarantee it.
Yeah, it's
and they're probably going to ask Cole,
oh my God,
what do you think about this?
Yeah, it's I don't know. All signs point to Kratz. We'll see if anything happens in a week that would change that decision.
Hey guys, it's Gabriel from Boston, Massachusetts. Big time listener. You guys bring me strength in these difficult parts. Had a question for you. Heard you guys calling Chapman's difficult situation turtle heading. Now, growing up, we always called it prairie dog, and wondering the etymology behind your choice of words and where that came from, and whether you think turtle is a more appropriate metaphor for Chapman than a prairie dog in this situation. Thanks. Go Yanks.
You can bat leadoff on this one, Trev.
I had something I was going to... let's go back to the last voicemail real quick.
Okay.
That's a ridiculous question, and I do have a definite answer for you for this one. But don't be surprised if we see Kratzy or Higgy go on the 10-day DL with a phantom knee injury or something. They can't decide. They're like, look, 10 days, and we'll make a decision then.
Because the other thing,
that's an option
that gets interesting is I could see them having the 3 catchers on the roster because you're going to have pinch runners and stuff, and that makes it Gary Sanchez is a guy you pinch run for at this point. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see.
Okay. As far as the turtle head or prairie dog,
right?
The nomenclature in California, at least where I'm from, is prairie dog. You're prairie dogging it. And I've never even heard turtle head.
I think prairie dogging is the more common phrase. I just think turtle heading might be a better kind of a better description. I mean, you picture a turtle head coming out of a shell, and that, I mean, if we're being honest.
Have you ever seen a prairie dog stick his head out of the hole?
I've seen a prairie dog stick his head out of the hole, sure. When I see a prairie dog do that, know what I think there is? I think there's also a cuteness level to prairie dogs. That a prairie dog pokes its head out, and you're like, oh, look at that. Like, you look at a turtle and that kind of neck. I don't know. David?
For me, it becomes kind of an issue of shape or volume.
Ooh. Color?
To
an extent,
yeah.
So, I don't know. I would agree prairie dogging is the more common phrase. I think more often I'm in a turtle heading situation.
I bet you are. What Trev, I know you got to run in a minute. Do you have not yours personally, but any good teammate stories or anything like that where Mother Nature became an issue?
It happens a lot. I mean,
sure.
Like, we play a lot of games.
3 hours on a field.
I have my favorite poop story. Doesn't actually involve poop.
Okay.
And I think you guys know this story, but for the listeners here,
sure.
We in Minnesota, we would do our team pictures every year. You go on the field, you get lined up, you take a picture. Every year, Bert Blyleven would come out, and we'd be like, say like right behind second base. That's where we would do our bleachers. He'd be behind home plate in the stands, and he'd get everybody's attention. He would then, should I even be saying this?
No, I think
guess
you should.
whatever.
I think Bert's happy with it.
Yeah, he would moon everybody.
Yep.
But then he'd moon you, and then all of a sudden you see this brown log drop out of his butt.
Yeah.
And you just think he just pooped his pants, or not in his pants. He just bent over and pooped right in front of us, and it was disgusting. And then to make it even more disgusting, he'd pick that log up and then he'd take a bite out of it. So then you're really like, this is disgusting. And Bert, like, what the fuck are you doing? Well, it was a Snickers bar, and he would do it every single year. He'd put a little Snickers bar, clench it with his butt. It'd fall out. He'd pick it up. And that's Bert Blyleven humor.
That's
every single year we knew it was coming. Guess what? It was funny every single year, and it was disgusting every single year.
That's Hall of Fame humor.
Go Bert.
That's Hall
He's
of
got to
Fame
come on the
humor.
show. We got to get him on the show.
Yeah,
he's done. He finished up his last broadcasting effort. So he's got nothing but time now.
That's good. Yeah, we met Bert briefly, and then we heard that story, and it all makes sense. It all makes sense.
A lot of sense.
It all makes sense. He was a character. Is a character. Any final Yankee notes, Trev? Anything you need to tell the Yankees fan base? You've got the pulse of them.
I feel like I want to say thank you for embracing me into Yankees Twitter. It's a tough place, but I enjoy being there. Relax. Take these next 2 weeks. Get your mind right for the playoffs. That's when the Yankees season starts. Biggest thing you got to worry about is that 3-starter. We'll figure that out when we get there. Let's have this 2-week audition period for it. Pray for some health. But if the Yankees get all the guys back, if they get Judge and Stanton back and give them some time to get acclimated to at-bats, look out. Like, you should still be thinking World Series.
I think...
and last week, that was not the case. There was nobody thinking World Series last week.
There was more questions than answers. A couple of them started getting answers. My big thing is give me one of the big guys. I need Judge or Stanton to kind of be the anchor in that lineup. If we get both of them, that would be incredible. And yeah, man, I think if Davey Garcia does it tomorrow, like, it's gonna be Davey mania, and I'm excited about that, because when you do start talking, either ALCS, World Series type storylines, a dynamic 21-year-old rookie who's punching people and peacocking off the mound, that's a fun one to have with you. So
yes,
Trevor Plouffe, thank you. Beautiful soul. Appreciate all you for tuning in to Talkin' Yanks. We'll be back with sharp stats, or
I don't know when everything's getting recorded,
yeah,
but
or the series.
Can I say one more
sharp
thing?
stats rest of the week.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to say one more thing. This is directed straight to the Yankees pitching staff.
Oh, here we go.
Stop coming out after the game and saying they must have my pitches. That I must be tipping. Stop.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear that. If you think that, make an adjustment and then go do it. Because guess what? Also, when you come out publicly and say it, then people are going to assume that you changed. If you don't say anything, they're going to be looking for the same thing, and then you change, and they won't know. It's a bad look for the fans. Nobody wants to hear it, and it's a dumb play strategically. So stop with that. Go get guys out. Make sure you're not tipping your pitches. It's not that freaking hard. Sorry.
No, that was beautiful. We're with you.
I feel like that was part of Yankees Twitter right there. That was
you're
like really,
you're in it, man. You're in deep at this point.
Got hot.
Love that. Go tweet at Trevor Plouffe. Thank him for coming on. We'll see you guys soon. Let's go Yanks. Let's dominate the Blue Jays series, and then we'll be back. Then Yankees Twitter will be walking around shoulders high.
If Russell Wilson isn't throwing a first pitch in the Yankees playoffs, it's a mistake.
Okay.
Go Yankees.
Confirmed. Go Yankees. Tell him, Grandma. Yeah. Just a little late. Story of my life.